Hey there, role players! Welcome to another Rolz video. Last time we talked about homebrew systems and how to make one if you don't want to use an existing system. And this is what we came up with, our design document, just a few rules to get us started. And today we are going to show how to develop a character sheet for this minimalist system. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of the stuff we made last time. So I'm going to hit new page and there are some options I can use here. And let's choose text page with placeholders, create a new link from the current page we are on. And let's call that the rules. So what happens here is Rolz is putting in some basic starter document for us. We're not going to use any of that. Just paste the text of the rule set in and we should be good to go. So we're going to call this my rules and that should start us off. Alright, and when we go back here we see there's a link to the rules. And next thing we are going to do is make a character sheet for these rules. And these rules are quite simple. So we have 4 attributes and we need to make a couple of dice rolls. Depending on the skills we are using, there should be a table containing the skills and we should have some option to track hit points, and we should have maybe a table or a list of items that we can add to so we can use them and perform things like attack rolls on them. The character making is so simple in the system that we're not going to bother automating any of that because there's really no reason to. Finally, we should have some way of tracking experience. So let's start with the attributes, right? To the starting page, we're going to make a generic character sheet and we're going to call this character sheet template because we want our players to be able to go there and just make a character. This is the default character sheet that Rolz gives us. When I go to the edit screen, we can see all the elements this consists of, and this starts us off with something usable right away. So we have a character name, we have some basic character information, those are just text fields that the players can fill in, and finally we'll have attributes. This is set up in a way that allows you to add basically any number of attributes, but we can in fact do better than that. Because this is a general template, we are going to make something more concrete and suitable to our system. And if we remember the 4 attributes that we decided to use for this homebrew system, it would probably be a good idea to have fixed fields for these values to fill in. And that's where the stat field element comes in. This is especially designed for this task. And we are going to call this field strength and name that str, which is the international standard strength. And we're going to do the same for dexterity with the short form of dex, and we're going to do the same for wit, which we're calling wit. Resistance. So what you can see here is what you put in quotes here is just a label, and what you put in after the quotes is the name. This is how Rolz refers to the value that this takes on, right? So if I change this, we see, okay, our 4 attributes are reflected here, and helpfully there's a hint here regarding what this is supposed to be like. we can in fact do a little bit better if I go to the character sheets tab here and there's some reference information. I can tell Rolz what the default value shall be. The default value for humans is just 0. We can go ahead and fill these in for our 4 attributes. So our game does not have any saves or bonuses. And before we go to attacks and damage, I would like to put this further down for now. Let's do that. And let's talk about skills next, because this is how we chose the reference document to work. Right, we have a number of skills. That's not the whole truth though. So here's our skills list. There are some special skills, and these special skills, there are like 6 of them. You can choose, when you create a character, you can choose 2 of them to basically build a class equivalent for your character in this game. And we should probably reflect those basic trait skills in our character sheet so we have them handy at any time, and we can then refer to the rest of the skills, which we called other skills in the design document, by this basic list, because this is what the players can make up freely, and those 6 trait skills they can't really make up because they are part of our core game mechanics. I'm just going to delete all of the extra text. So these are our 6 trait skills. So that's going to be melee combat, and let's find a good name for that. Let's call that, I don't know, melee. Now it's time to fill in the other trait skills. That's gonna be ranged. Let's call that ranged, and magic. I don't know if we should maybe shorten those. We could call them mel, run, mag, stuff like that, maybe. This would save us some typing maybe down the road. Let's fill in motivate and command and dodge. Mel, run, mag, and that would be this for disarm or disrespect, and let's call that command or motivate, I don't know, mod, and dot. I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but let's roll with that for now. So when we open up this again, we can see, okay, these are our 6 trait skills. If we wanted, we could have them all in the same line. Maybe that's a good idea to make this more consistent from a design point of view. So this takes care of our 6 trait skills, and everything else that doesn't fit into the 6 trait skills, the players can actually fill in on their own. For example, if you want to have a hide skill, unfortunately the default roll code here is not what we want. So we in our system want a d8, and for hide that's probably a dex check, right? Let's make a basic character, like attribute values 1, 2, 4, and let's try out the roll feature here. And we can already see how this worked. Right, the d8 got rolled, we rolled a 1, and we added the dex value here, designated by exclamation mark dex, which has a value of 2 in our character sheet, and that got added to 3. And what we want to add as a last component, of course, is the actual value of the skill, the score the character has. For example, let's say my character has a height value of 3. Then I'll put that right in here, and this is the formula that gets rolled in the end. So in this case that would be a 2 plus 2 plus 3. 2 was the d8, dex was 2, and 3 was my skill value. And I can do the same for melee combat. For example, if I have a fighter, let's say I have a fighter mage, and I can put in 0 for the others. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to have these fields all in a row from a design perspective. Let's make it more like this and define a button for every single roll that we need to make here. The dice code for this would be a d8 plus melee is based on strength, so that's strength plus melee, and that would be our roll. Save this and try this out. That's what it looks like. And we can see if I roll this, I rolled a 3, and my strength is 1, gets added to that, and my melee score is 3, and that sums up to 7, and that works. So let's implement this for the other attributes as well. Ranged combat is based on dexterity, we said, and we called this ran. We add that to it. And magic, we said, is based on wit, and that gets added to our magic. Trade skill score. Disarm traps is based on. We can totally just argue this is dex based, this is wit based, and be done with that. Of course, there's a little bit of an imbalance here because strength we only need for 1 of these, and dex features in 3, and wit features in 2. But hey. Alright, now we have buttons for this, and we are set up for our character sheet's skill and attributes. And we have an option here to define basic other skills. The character description and special abilities we are going to leave as is, and this does not take into account whether I have a special bonus when I use a specific weapon or not. And that's what we could reflect here. For example, if I'm specialized in swords, or let's refer to one of the special weapons we defined here. For example, if I'm specialized in the Xiphos, right? I could say, okay, Xiphos attack is a thing we would do, and that's a d8 plus our strength plus our melee attack plus 1. And that reflects my specialization in this. When I roll Xiphos attack, that's what happens. This is the one we rolled, this is the one from our strength, this is the 3 from our melee, and this is the 1 from my specialization. So that works out quite nicely. And I still have these general buttons to do general things, but if I use a specific weapon that I have a bonus for, I'm using this attack table. And the damage rolls we don't need because this system does not damage separately. So we're going ahead and delete that. And with that we have a good character sheet here that players can use as a template. We can just create a character like that, right? Let's call that, I don't know, Odysseus, a character in our setting, and this makes a link to Odysseus. What I'm going to do as a player is I go to the example character sheet, I just take the text that is there, and then I go to my character and put that in. Our character name is Odysseus, and save that. Basic character information really for later. Excelsior. Did Odysseus have a motto? I'm not sure. If you know one. And in our case, we are going to make a strength-based hero. As far as the skills go, we already decided his strengths will be melee combat and motivate. So let's put that in. Melee combat, range combat will be 0, and magic will be 0. Disarm as well, motivate will be 2, and dodge will be 0. That doesn't mean he can't dodge, but yeah, he doesn't get a bonus. And we had some other skills that we defined for our example hero. That was knowledge legends +3. Let's make skill row for that knowledge legends and put in the formula. That is definitely a wit based skill, I would say, and our score was 3. The next one was social interactions, also with 3. Let's put that in. Social interactions D8 plus, I think, also wit. Interestingly, that we have only 1 point of wit. That was maybe not a good decision from a min-max standpoint, but hey, let's make a well-rounded character. Gonna be fine. And engineering, which was supposed to be his improvisation skill, so that's 1d8 plus also wit, or maybe dex, and that had a score of 2. Alright, let's make some test rolls here. Let's roll on social interaction. Okay, that worked. So those are my free skills. Those are my trait skills. Character description, let's add that later. Special abilities, I'm not sure he even has one. And attacks and damage would be dependent on the type of weapon we choose. We can fill that in later, and the equipment is a free text field as well, so let's not fill that in right now. And this illustrates how to do a basic character sheet for playing our homebrew system. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, feel free to post in the comments below, and otherwise I will see you in the next video.